Okay, hello. Now we already said a lot of hellos here. Hi. Um, so we're gonna talk, or maybe there's no talking at all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's being said. It doesn't matter what's going on. Everything is already complete as it is. That's the joy. Life is what it is. There's no meaning. There's no purpose. There's just what it is. And that's so it did in that way. You could say this message is so simple. Everything is so simple. It's normal, simple, what's apparently happening. And what I mean with apparently, that nothing is real. When there's I am here and I'm living my life and all that, there seems to be everything is solid and real. And for the most people, it's also there's a center and everything is happening to me or to my body. Thoughts are mine and the body is mine, feelings are mine, and everything, the circumstances are happening to me. And then there's coming to this kind of meetings, and then there's hearing, no, there is no one. That doesn't mean that for the rest, there's no one inside this body and everything is real. There's also the body isn't real. So that's crazy because normally we can imagine that everything is not real, that maybe there's energy going on and we'll see that energy and all that. But when they're saying the body isn't real, then there's something going on like, oh, but I exist. So how can there be not a real body and I have really the feeling I exist? And then there's going on something like, oh, when I'm saying like Rose, there's no life of Rose. There's no Rose. We can talk in the story, like there's a story of Rose and the characteristics and from maybe other people. But there's no time. Time is also a construct. When there's I am here and then I have my life, there's living in time and distance. There's here and there. There's before and after. There's a I was born and I will die somewhere. And then there's hearing, no, there is no life of Rose, of somebody else too. It's not only about Rose, of course. There's even no Rose. There's can be seen that face, and that's everything. There's there's that room, and that room is everything. Walling, flooring, there's sitting. And we're so focused, most people are focused on what's happening in the body, of what's happening with me, or in the story, what's going on. And when there's hearing, no, the body isn't real. So then the feelings are feelings. It's not your feeling, it's not from somebody else. It's feelings can happen. And that can be a sensation, there can be sadness, and there's also the table, and nothing is more important than anything else. That's amazing because normally it's like my life and my body. That's the most important thing. I'm busy with that all day or most of the day, and it's very important. And then hearing, no, there's nothing more important than anything else. So there's the table and there's a feeling, and both are what is happening, what is apparently happening. That's also crazy to imagine that everything is an appearance. It's not real. It's there. It's an appearance of the table and there's feeling, pain and sadness maybe and walling. But it's in the same time, there's nothing going on. There's nothing happening. There's no need to understand this. There's no need to imagine this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There can be a hearing of this or somewhere it's recognized. There's maybe a resonance. But it doesn't matter if it's seen. There can be a waiting till that moment, like, oh, then I see there's no one, or there's a realization, or something like that. There's a lot of misunderstanding about realizations and all that. This is not about a realization. This is not about understanding. There's no realization here or a seeing that there's no me. This is about loss. It's the loss of all those beliefs and ideas and concepts about how life is, how I am, what I should do, what's better, what's worse, and all that, how I should be, how maybe how it should look when there's no one. Mere like a question from like, oh, how will it be when there's no one? There's no difference. That's crazy to hear, because when there's me, there's a lot of times there's a feeling of there's something wrong, there's something not right yet, there's something not complete or missing, there's maybe a dissatisfaction, or I'm not good enough. All that, it can happen in that way. Me is that feeling that there's something wrong some way, and then there's that drive to make it right. And that's, most people know that, like, it's about yourself, or it's about the world, or it's about circumstances. It's always being busy trying to change circumstances, because we think that there's a free will and choice. We have a free will. I am here, I have a free will and choice, and I can make things happen by thinking about and making a choice and feeling that's the right choice and then going for it, things like that. And then there's this message and hearing, there's, when there's no me, there's also, of course, no free will and choice. And it seems like when there's no free will and choice, then where's the control? And there's also saying, no, there never was control. It seems like control is very important to make your life happen in a certain way, that it's more comfortable, that you feel more happy or satisfied and all that. There's always a struggle, because it's most of the time it's for a while, and then something starts again, that it's not right or not satisfied, it's not enough, something like that. So the drive is going on, and trying to make it right is being busy trying to feel more, or work on yourself, or do things for the world or for other people, so people feel okay, and then you feel okay, and all that. It's always for a while. It's never for always. And somewhere there's looking for something for always. And then when there's coming to this kind of meeting, they're thinking, oh, for always, maybe when there's no me, then it will be better. Then the problems, then I hear people saying there are no problems. So that sounds really good, that there's not feeling any problem. So there's looking for something like, oh, then looking for no me. So there will definitely be a change in my life, or in life, they can't call that like that. And then there will be something better in a way. So it can be disappointing to hear it will not, this is not about being better, having a better life. There's no hope. There's no hope. Because hope is confirming that there's something not right yet. This is already complete as it is. There's no change. But that idea or belief, that embodied belief, I think, it's more like there's somewhere something wrong with what's going on, because that feeling of it's about me and about I'm feeling good or nice or comfortable, that's so embodied that it's about me and feeling good, that it's always comparing it with that feeling of no, it's not enough and I should make it better, could make it better. This is what it is. Life is what it is. We can abstract. So there's always a comparing with other people, with circumstances, wanting different circumstances. Life isn't seeing someone. There's no one. There's already no one. There never was someone. There never was a free will and choice. There never was control. Everything is singular. So there's walling, face. It's that. And we can abstract and fill in the holes and imagine that there's Rose, she's walking and she has a life and how she does live her life and all that. And what's the best way? Suddenly, Although there's already an idea of an understanding of there's no free will and choice, there's suddenly that urge and that drive to make it right or to feel better, that's so strong. So then there's trying to find out maybe how Rose is doing. It has nothing to do with Rose. Everything is different. So but there's also no Rose. So there's no life of Rose. This is not about a way of living your life or new advice about what to do or not to do. It's only a description of what's going on and saying it's what it is. It's not, and it's also not an advice to say to yourself, oh, this is what it is, because that's a new concept about making things little when it's not nice. Then it's making it a little bit more comfortable. Most of the time it's saying that when it's not comfortable, when you're really joy and all that, most people don't say, yeah, it's what it is. It's only when they're saying like, oh, I don't feel good, but yeah, it's what it is. And then it's more making it a little bit different. And also when everything is lost, there's no escape. There's already, of course, no escape. But then it's more obvious that there's no escape. There's no free will and choice. It's when there's pain, there's nothing coming up, trying to change it, trying to do something with it, trying to work out why, all that. Those thoughts don't come. So this is not a way of living. This is not knowing. There's already not knowing. There's not knowing what will happen next moment. And there's nothing going on, like the idea about there's an idea of what's better and what's worse. I don't know. There can be an idea of I want this. I want coffee or tea or better, nice weather or being healthy. Well, that's only that thought can happen. That longing maybe can be strong. But life is what it is. So when there's something going on, or the weather, or disease, or pain, then that's what's happening. And we can talk about that. And there can be talking about anything. There can be talking about the story, and maybe there are things going on in the story. So there are questions about that. Maybe there are questions about Rose. It doesn't matter. You can ask any question. There's nothing silly or wrong or strange. It's everything. It's every question. There's nothing right and wrong. That's amazing. When there's nothing right or wrong, that's in the end, there's a longing for that there's nothing wrong. We are so focused on doing the right thing and being maybe afraid of what people say about you, or what you say about yourself, all that. It can't be wrong. It cannot be wrong. It's what's happening. Life is that. It's neutral. There's nothing going on about wrong. It's only when there's looking at it and seeing, and that suddenly there's dividing it in right and wrong and better and worse and should and shouldn't. So let's talk about this and we'll see what's happening. And when there's nothing coming, when there's silence, there's silence. And when there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of talking. In a way, this meeting is going nowhere. It doesn't matter. There can be an idea or a longing that there will be something happening, or there will be some understanding more, or that can happen. There can be a loss of some concepts. This is so energetic. So there can be some beliefs there can be some there, and then suddenly they're not that strong anymore. Can happen. It's everything. So if you want to say something, you can unmute yourself, or you
Yes,
can.
Rose.
Oh, there's somebody. Hey.
Yes, Not related to non-duality, except it means nothing anyway. No, it's so when I'm faced to with making decisions, like on a practical level, I had an impulse to book my camper van on a ferry from Plymouth to Roscoff in Brittany and travel. No other idea. And now it's like, oh, well, should I cancel the booking? I don't know what, it's like, it feels almost like a threat, like I have to make a decision. To,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I should cancel or just go ahead, and it creates just a fear, really, and I seem to get this block when I have to make a decision, and it feels like there's no one else and it's on me, and it's a burden, and it's just something I wish I didn't have to do or think about. Even with a van insurance I have to decide, and van repairs I have to decide, and it seems so real, and at the same time it feels like I haven't got a clue, and I know one morning I can wake up and suddenly it all gets done without any planning. It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it seems to create this unpleasant feeling of there's someone here that needs to deal with it, and if I don't deal with it, then I keep. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share. It just seems to be the prominent thing. It's not that important, but it's like it is. It's a big brother.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that construct, that trying, there's a fear, and maybe there's something wrong, and I should do something, and all that. Me is trying to survive, you could say that, in a way.
Yes.
And then somewhere maybe there's already something going on, that it's just going, and then suddenly that me can come up, and like, really, like, this is really important, and when you don't do it, it will go wrong, and all that.
Yes.
Panic and all that. It's a survival. It's a survival mechanism. And it doesn't have any power, but it feels like it's so embodied, that belief. So it wants you, yeah, you could say, in a way, it wants you to believe it's really important, and you should listen, and then do what there's being advised, or whatever it's done. And that and it's just a survival it's only energy, it's only thinking. But that fear, that also, has nothing to do with everything what's going on. It's fear can happen, and it's relating, and that's what normally is seen like that. It's relating to that decision, that there's a fear, and it has to do with making it the right decision, or something like that.
Yes, it's wanting to be resolved, so I
Yeah,
won't have
yeah,
that fear.
yeah.
Yeah.
But fear is fear.
Mm.
It's even the word fear makes it maybe sometimes even something else. It's that suddenly that sensation can be, or that feeling can be very strong there. It's that it's not because of anything. It suddenly is there, and it has nothing to do with circumstances. It's there, and then suddenly, after a while, there's the table, or drinking coffee or something, and it's forgotten it was there. But when there's fear, and there's a feeling of, oh, it should be different, or what is this, or all that, it's on top of that, then me starts to help, you should say, to make it,
Yes.
and all that, and then the whole construct is going, you
Yes.
could say. Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
here the thought is
Yeah.
there's a sort of panic because there's no, in a way, there's no response apart from that panic, coming from these thoughts. So the thoughts come up, and this doesn't seem to be an action taken, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
where am I? Why isn't there action taken? You know,
Of
and then
course.
an
Of course.
excuse comes up about I need to
Yeah, of
make a
course.
decision, and yeah, but
Yeah.
yes,
And it makes it more real, and it's more important. And then
yes,
it's
yeah,
locked in that whole thing that seems makes it even stronger and more solid also. And and it can be the phone is ringing and you completely forget it was there, and then suddenly maybe it can come again. But it's so convincing that you should do something about it.
yeah.
It's amazing, and there can be a lot of understanding, or already there's a lot of going on, like there's no one, and it's very obvious, and then suddenly, boff, it comes in. That's the energetic part, and that suddenly that meeting is go on, and it doesn't matter, but it's like, oh my god, it feels so real, and panic, and I should do or not do something or anything. It's panic. Panic can happen here too. That I don't know even why. It's just panic. Gug, 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 like that. The heart is beating. Yeah, there's panic, and there's no why. It has nothing to do with circumstance, but it jumps on a certain situation. Maybe that this is about the boat or something else. It doesn't matter. It jumps on something. It doesn't really matter on what. It's amazing how that seems like, oh, it's jumped on that boat or jumps on something else. I don't know. But it's only panic. And that sensation is
Mm.
life. Really alive. And that's what's happening. It has nothing to do with anything. It's only life.
So,
Yeah.
so again, with having booked
Mm,
the van on the ferry,
mm.
I mean, is that real or not? Then you know, it's like because
Yeah, but maybe there's that ticket, and then there's maybe there's going to to the ferry and doing
yeah.
the things, or maybe not. You don't
Well, it's
know.
just
I
a
don't know.
It's just a deposit that's been paid, so I could still
Yeah.
have the choice. You see, of
uh, yeah, but
seemingly.
then maybe there's a loss of money can happen also. You don't know. It's
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and maybe there's going or not going, but the idea
Yes,
that it's like life threatening. It's in a way. It seems sometimes it's in that action. It seems like there's something going on. It's so important. It's like amazing. Like
yes,
and
yeah,
looking back, it's like, huh, what was going on? Because when you're in it, it feels like that. Of course, yeah. The panic is can be so strong, and it's so related. It seems to be related
yes. It's
to
just like
that
there's no
decision.
knowing why that
No,
ticket is bought.
no.
You know,
Mhm.
why? You know, it just doesn't seem to be any reason
Mm,
for that
mm,
travel to even
mm.
take place. It just I don't know what's
Ah,
going on, really. I
yeah.
don't know what's
Ah,
going on.
me doesn't like that.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
wants to have reason, and you can explain and all that, and then it's more solid and all that.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly like booking that, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll see. And then suddenly, what did I do?
Yes, yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
like that.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the embodied idea that there's something embodied that panic, like you should know, or all that. Yeah, those concepts or maybe beliefs. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
should know what you're doing, something like that.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
yeah,
It's just a
it's
free fall.
sort of the yes, oh my gosh. Did you say free fall?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
booking a ticket like that
It
without
is.
knowing. It's just like that, free fall. Whoa, and then suddenly like, woof. What did I do? Can I explain that? No. It's like being with your mother and saying, "What did you do?" And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, and why? All that, all those ideas. It's like,
Oh
yeah, but
yes,
it's
yeah,
that's the
yes,
embodied idea of I should
yes, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have to explain or being
Yeah, I
sure.
should know. I should
Yeah,
know the reason
yeah,
and
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
And you
thank you,
don't.
Rose. Yeah,
And you
yeah,
don't. Ah, no.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
just sitting here and looking at the screen and looking at the tomato plants that Anita
Mhm.
watered for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And panic is part of life also. It's everything. So there can be
Yes,
panic and all that, and suddenly we, and then that's something else. And now it's like, oh yeah. And then we'll see what's happening. I don't know. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Hmm.
That was a nice sharing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I recognize a lot. And also for booking a ticket. Sometimes I book a ticket, but a lot of times so when I go to Crete or where I go to the UK, sometimes I don't know when I go back, when I want to go back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I book a ticket back, but it feels a little bit like it's difficult to yeah, there is no right or wrong, of course, but yeah, yeah. Sometimes I don't know how long I will stay there, or
Well, no. Well,
yeah.
there's it's that
And then lots
there's
of times, when I went to Crete, a lot of times then I stay there for a
yeah,
week and then yeah, okay, stay a week longer.
yeah. And
But
sometimes it can be like that, and sometimes it's just there can be a wanting something, but life doesn't see you, so there's nothing going on about what you want. That's not important. It's what's coming out, and we are so used to what do I want, what do I not want, and how can I do that, and all that. And
mm-hmm,
that then there can be some things around that because there's it seems to very important. So of course then when there's booking a ticket, they're saying like, I do 1 week or 2 weeks, but it's suddenly done. There can be a thinking about it. Yeah, it's strange. It seems like there's a decision, but it's not it's not it's
well,
going like that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's so the normal way, convincing that you are choosing and it's your what you want is really important, something like that. Of course. But so this when they're saying there's no one, that's not suddenly like, yeah, there's no one. No, it's like, oh my God, there's no one. It's more like that because it's like, oh, all those ideas about what I want, how should I do it? All life doesn't see that. There's not life isn't interested in that. Wow, that's something. We are so busy with everything. What is important for me? What do I want and all that.
Mm-hmm,
Wow. That's completely out of the window. That's not in one moment. Yeah, there can be one moment it's like everything. But there's a lot of investment in all that what's important for me and doing things that finally I know what I want and I can do it and all that. That's there's an investment in that. Can be.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There can be a panic, suddenly booking a ticket and why should I go? I know that. Let me stay at home. That's cozy and known. It's nice. Yeah, there can be all kind of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I will receive possible a new living place, and then
Mm.
also
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's a little bit weird that the weird thoughts arising sometimes.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a trying to control and trying to yeah. do what that there can be all kind of ways. There can be thoughts, but it's just only thoughts. They don't have any power. They don't go anywhere. They can be anything, but they can be very convincing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Rose, there's no one responsible whatsoever?
No, there can't be. There is no one inside. There's nothing inside. So responsibility and guilt and wrong decisions. Well, it's when there's living in that you could say in the story. There's it's so embodied, that feeling of I should. It's not only in like, oh, there's no responsibility. It's like sometimes it's like this. It's so important. So you can't. Then there's maybe an understanding of there's no one or no responsibility. But then there's that energy, or maybe that fear coming, or in another way, and that can be so strong and convincing. So knowing there's no responsibility and living that, there can be huge difference in that. Yeah. And suddenly it's so overwhelming and strong. It's feeling like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that, and oh now she feels so awful because of me, or now there's so many ideas about
Oh
that.
yes, yeah. No, I don't mean that. It's like in every instance, in every moment, there's already no one.
Yeah. So it's life is the decider, you could say that.
Yeah, a leaf falling from a tree, or deciding to talk to a friend on the phone is.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
It's so empty.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that might be an intellectual.
Yeah, there can be an understanding of this, that there's no responsibility or no one deciding. But yeah, it's so embodied. There's so much. It's invested. It's an identity. Yeah.
Yes. It's a constriction. The idea that you're responsible. It's very constricting.
Yeah.
And then it's down to you to make the right choice, and your life depends on you to make the right choice. Oh my gosh, that's mad. But that's what happens.
Yeah, but that's it. That's why it's so important and heavy, and feeling like it's a burden that you have to do it, and you are the one, and I have to do it in my own. And there's so many things around that makes it even stronger. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It feels like when it's going wrong, it feels like it's a punishment. It really does. It's whatever is ingrained.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
it's just insane.
Yeah, but that's how it's going. It's so strong. And there can be a saying like, everything is what it is, and then suddenly, rough. Also to other people, like, oh, why did you do that? Rough, like that. Yeah, that's so strong. Blaming and all that, of course, also. Yeah, that's also lost. You can't blame. You can't blame anymore. Yeah, of course.
When I came back from the Black Forest Wednesday, I had a long journey back home, and everything went. It was beautiful journey altogether. And then the last bus, the local bus, didn't turn up, so I had to wait another 40 minutes or so. And I wanted to feel angry, and at the same time it was so nice sitting in the shade of the tree and being it was just so nice. It's like one mind was saying I should be really annoyed this bus is not turning up, and it's like, no, this is so nice.
Oh, this, yeah, it's amazing what that's
It's
coming.
funny.
Yeah.
I couldn't help just thinking, oh, this is so nice.
That's amazing how that's. I remember when I was really young and I was sitting in the car and my father was having a fight with my mother and I was so angry. They didn't think about me and all that, so I was so angry, and I will be angry the whole day. They gonna feel it, and I was like that. Where I was like, I don't know, 8 or something, and then in the evening I was like, oh, where's that anger? Oh, I lost it. I really didn't like that. So you could, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Mm.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
Mm.
Hi, Rose.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me well? Can you hear me?
Sorry?
Can
Yeah,
you
I
hear
can hear
me?
you. Yeah,
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to share something. Like yesterday, there was some kind of interaction with somebody. You were just talking and coffee and all kind of stuff happened. And it's like later on, it's like they're trying to be like there's some memories and like maybe some thinking. But it was so strange to see that I just couldn't make sense. Like I think the mind was trying to make sense of what was happening, trying to understand if this happened or that happened. And it's like it was very difficult to put things together. Like there was not really, I mean, in a way, of course, there is memory going on and all, but I couldn't I lost, I think, in a way, not completely, but to understand, like it meant this or it meant that, or it's like,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very confusing. Like, and my mind was trying to grab on, like, oh, but maybe, like I was just seeing like the really the effort in trying to understand the logical, making sense way of life, and how it is not really working so much. I mean, only for fun, for practical things. Like, of course, it's like if I have to do something in the moment, but like trying to really understand, like after, like what really happened, or like, did he say that, or did I did that, or like, it was hilarious, and I'm still
Wow.
trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I'm still like
Yeah.
trying to do that. It's like a funny thing because it's not so like before. I used to be very convinced,
Yeah.
very yeah.
Yeah.
It's for sure this, and I know this, and
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So it's really
Oh.
weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like I really don't know what's going on in a way. I mean, of course I know, but there is like I can't make really sense so much. But only while it's happening, of course, it's just like functioning. There's talking. There's like whatever, doing things. But like to really understand like how things work together, and like why people do what they do, or like what they say or like it's really weird. I don't know how to say that. Like,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Of course. Yeah. You're trying to make some sense of it and why and all that, and that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. I
yeah.
know. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like losing the control of it. It's really weird. It's really, yeah.
But it
Very
was thinking, there was, you were right, what you said, like before, you were right in that this is what's happening, and I was convinced it's like that and all that. And suddenly that being convinced is not that strong anymore. It's like, oh, I can't even make sense of it and all that.
And in one way, there's like a free. It's I feel like it's much more free because I don't have to know. I don't have to know if it's happened that way or if it meant that way, or like it's like it brings a lot of like space or freedom in a way. But then the other side, it's like, wow, I really don't know. I really don't
Yeah,
know. I really don't know. It's
yeah,
like, ah.
yeah. That's. But then there's feeling. Oh, that's what's meaning not knowing. It's not
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
there's not knowing. No, it's like, oh, there's not knowing.
yeah,
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 of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, but even like while sitting and drinking coffee and stuff, and then realizing like it's just everything is permanently. I mean, all the time is gone. It's just disappearing, 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 and you cannot.
Mm,
It's so weird. It's so
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's
You can't.
you get used to it also. It's first like, oh my God, what's going on? It's going on. And then after a while, it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like that. Yeah, yeah. Of
and
course,
it
it's
feels like
different.
it feels like it's falling apart, but there is also a lot of like, wow, it's actually much easier.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's that's how it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Not for everything, but yesterday and today is so weird. Like, wow, I can't. Ah,
yeah,
uh, it's
yeah. Amazing.
it's not confusing. It's just like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
also feels very physical. Like I mean, like the brain and
Hmm.
the throat and the chest is like really something is changing in the body, and it's and I
Yeah.
just leave it for what it is, and I think the mind tried to make sense out of that. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Of
it's
course.
confusing.
That's yeah. That and you were so used to do that, and it was so the normal way, and suddenly it's not that you can't do that and in the same way
No, no,
anymore.
no, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's still there's someone trying to grasp. Like, wow, maybe I can
of
still,
course. Yeah, of course. It's like, oh, what is going on? Yeah, of course. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Mm.
yeah,
Oh, great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a small thing, but it's like a big thing. Like,
Yeah,
very.
in the same time. Yeah, of course. Of course. I see that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, wow.
uh,
Yeah.
for you
Hmm.
sharing that. Yeah, just to share
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Rose again.
Hmm.
Yes, I just thought that when we talk about solidity or things are not really solid, there's I realized that actually solidity brings up fear. Here it seems like when it's so solid, it feels almost like claustrophobic,
Mm.
that it's not free. I
Yeah.
don't know. These are just
Yeah,
ramblings.
it's important. It becomes important because then when I am here and everything is solid and real, then I have to survive in this world or
Yeah.
circumstances. Yeah, sure.
Well, no, I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, even the chair and the
Oh,
table.
like that.
But at the
Okay.
same time, if I bumped my toes in on the table leg, it would hurt. So there must be some solidity.
Well, when you believe it's solid, then
Yeah.
the experience is with that. When there's pain in the toes, it's pain somewhere, but we are so convinced that everything is solid, then it's feeling it inside the toes. When that's not so much there, it's like I'm not even sure it's in or around. I can't place
Uh,
it in a certain place. It's somewhere there, somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just thinking about the words affirming and confirming. It's
Yeah.
talking about firm, which is also
Oh,
solid.
firm. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
funny
yeah.
you're making it
Mm.
solid, affirming,
Yeah.
confirming, it's
Oh,
making
yeah.
solid.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
No, but I think language can be
Yes,
something on top of
I'm,
that. Of
I'm
course. Yeah.
enjoying talking
Yes.
and listening. It's,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm here again. It's like that need to stay in the known, because then the known is known. So there's a certainty because something is known.
Yeah.
And this message is
Yeah.
rocking that
Yeah.
the solid belief, or the yeah,
Yeah, of course.
it's rocking that,
Yeah. Yeah, it's that when there's every look in the world, it's about knowing. We try to know because that gives a feeling of safety, and we're looking for safety because otherwise we are around the place and not knowing where to go.
yes, yes.
Yeah, of
The
course.
fear of not
Yeah,
having control,
yeah,
which
sure.
there's already no control, then it's
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
feeling like it's yeah, there's nothing to hold on. That's the most fearful part of this, that there's nothing to hold on. You can't even understand, even the understanding, which is a big part, I think. Understanding of realizing it or seeing it, all that is still there's some hold of that. It's seeing like it's like that. And suddenly like that's not even like it's not even that. So yeah. And then, yeah. But it's also the freedom. So there's a longing for that, and in the same time there
yes,
can be a fear of yeah, yeah. And in the beginning, of you could say in the beginning, when there's her hearing this message and it's about understanding and it's being clear and all that, and then it's not about being clear anymore, but it's like it's more embodied, and they're like, oh, there's something like, oh, what is going? There can be a fear or something, or
yes.
it felt like that.
I,
So it's
I
not that easy.
I have no idea of, it seems I've been listening and watching the videos for 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, and yet it's like nothing was ever heard anyway. It's like
Yeah.
I have no idea that's it's gone. It's like, who was listening before, who was talking before. It just seems to be non-existent, and if the thought comes up that I used to think, there used to be a lot in loveness or hate, and I've had enough, I can't, and it just seems to be it is just a memory that even the memories, you're not sure if it's something real, you know.
Yeah.
It's just the aliveness. Even if there's an embodied feeling, I'm still there or whatever. Anyway.
It's so difficult to talk about this because
Yeah.
it's so not graspable and trying to explain and all that. And when that's all lost, it's like, oh my God, how can I say this? And I want to share, but I don't know how. And oh God. Yeah, it can be like that. Yeah.
It's like nothing's being actually talked about. It's just talking.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not a it's not a concept. It's, I don't know.
Yeah. But this mess, it's not a concept. You can't
Yeah.
a concept you can understand in some way or do something with that, and that's completely not that. And that's
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. It's somewhere, and that's when it's like that. It's like there's a hearing of what's being said somewhere in a resonance or something like that. So that it can be like, why I'm still here. I don't get anything, and still there's drawn to this meeting or message or all that.
Yes,
You know?
yeah.
It's amazing how that you can't even say to
Yes,
yourself
yeah.
why.
And that can be so strong at one point.
Yeah.
And then like you said about when you were angry with your parents and then the anger was gone. It's just the same here. This idea that I can't stand this anymore. That's gone. It's like, no, that's completely gone.
Yeah.
Just being chatty.
Yeah.
It's how it seems to be. And suddenly remembering, oh, is it Rose? And checking on your website and oh, it's Rose in 1 minute. And it's, you know, it was so, yes.
Yeah.
There's no word. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks. No, it's not even letting go of control. There never was. Yeah.
It's like everything, like it seems like it's happening by itself. I mean, and there's like on top of it, like there's all this noise.
Yeah.
But it's this little thing is like, for example, when I drank coffee and suddenly I stand up and I went to pay for the coffee. I didn't even know how that happened. Like after that, I thinking like, where was the decision to stand up and to go and pay? You know, these little things like.
Yeah.
And I think it happens all the time like this, but because there's so much thinking, like busy with what we're doing, it's like I don't always see it, but it was. And many times, like the decisions like being made, it feels like I'm busy with it. Sometimes thinking, but suddenly there's like, wow, I decide yes or no, you know. But and then not knowing like when I really decided it, you know.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Where was the moment when I say yes because I already did it, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then suddenly that whole process of thinking, deciding, free will, it's like, oh, it never was like that. It's like, oh, and when there's that belief, it's there. You're convinced. It's like, of course, and then suddenly you see the gaps in the holes. Like, oh, yeah. That's
But
it.
it's so sweet. This little thing that it's so innocent. Like wow, you don't even know that. You don't don't even notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we think like we're deciding, and then if you look at everything, it's not a decision to do the hand like this and stand up and like
Exactly.
oh my God, there's no decision. Oh my God, yeah.
It's way too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
sometimes it does feel, of course, that I have to make like a big decision. I have to think
of
about
course.
it. I have to read,
Mm,
and then
mm.
I forget about it, and then suddenly I will do something, and then I go, "Wow, how, yeah,
Hey,
this
was that
happened."
a decision? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's like that. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, you can't explain that.
No, but it's very clear how you say it. And it's like, yeah, it's not, we're so convinced that there's a decision and there's a certain moment and it's important and then it's unraveling in a way. And then it's suddenly like, oh my God, it never was like that. It's a bit strange to say that there's always deciding. It's just standing up. There's the
Yeah,
decision. Yeah. Wow. It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. There's somebody saying, there's a friend which is ill and doesn't go to the doctor. And sometimes the thought arises that I'm making a call for him for an appointment to go to the doctor. Ooh, why should you? There can be a belief that you know what's better for somebody. Well, it's only a belief. That can be a thought. I don't know. When there's not going to the doctor, then that's what's going on. It's not that we can't know what's better for somebody else. I don't know. I'm not, no. I don't know. Maybe that's happening, but I don't know what's the best. Nobody knows. Mhm. And sometimes you want to take care of something you love, and he or she doesn't want the care you offer. It can be painful or sad. Yeah, but then it's painful or sad. It's and yeah. When there's an advice, then a lot of times when there's an advice, people want that the other one takes the advice because that feels better. Well, there's a freedom in advice. There's taking it or not. That's unconditional. And then feeling sad maybe can happen. Yeah, can happen. But we are so in the story, then we think, yeah, I'm feeling sad because he doesn't do it, or me, she. It's feeling sad. It's life. Sadness. There's nothing wrong with sadness or pain. And there's no story. There's no story. There's not someone to heal. There's not someone there. There's that body. can be there. Mm. That's a strong one. We want to make it right. We want that someone feels better. We want to heal someone. Because it's sad to when there's someone you love, it's having pain or being ill, and trying to do something about it. But there's sadness. There can be. That's what's happening. Yeah, there can be a lot of remembering of things that were going on, but in the end, a lot of times taking care of someone is like there's a need that someone takes your advice, something like that. It's free. When I look back to the Buddhist teaching, those are really awful. Oh. But it's about when there's help, it's free. When there's the freedom in help, then there's taking it or not. Yeah? Well, it's not that someone decides it, or I know better what is good for someone. There can be an idea of that. And when somebody doesn't take the advice or doesn't do anything with it, then that's what's going on. And maybe there's sadness or pain. Yeah? Then there's sadness or pain. Yeah, can happen. Yeah. A lot of advice is, in the end, also to feel better about yourself. It's amazing how subtle that can be. It's not wrong, but it's how that goes. Yeah.
And I I think it's very different, like when somebody asks for your like for advice, like when
Yeah, of
somebody is
course.
asking, is so different. The energy is so different. Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. Of
Yeah.
course. And then still, when there's giving that advice, when somebody asks and he doesn't do or she doesn't do
Yeah.
anything with it because it's I don't know why, then that's what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a
Yeah.
relief because
Yeah.
because you can only say what you think or
Yeah.
advise or
Yeah.
to help,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you really don't know if it's even the right thing. You
No.
just
How do you
ask.
know? It's just what
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
up. What do we
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And then there can be doing it or not. And then it's not about me, but it can be devastating, like seeing someone in pain or on that, and you want to do something about it. And when you can't, it's painful or sad.
yeah,
Yeah, then there's tears maybe. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There is so much we can do at the end, but
And sometimes it can be done. So yeah, it's different. But then when we talk about unconditional, whoa,
yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
But it's also so beautiful. Like if somebody's suffering, or it doesn't matter physically or emotionally, that you just,
Hmm.
in a way, I don't know how to say that. Like I used to always try to help and come with advices, and
Mm,
it makes the other only feel maybe more miserable because he
yeah,
cannot just be in where he is. I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
yeah. There's something wrong, and I can help you in that
yeah,
way. It's somewhere, and then when it's seeing that there's people, yeah, there's what's going on. That it's enough. What's being there, maybe something like that. That can be huge.
Yeah.
Just there's nothing going on like you should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And often you can feel it, like when you talk to people and there's like maybe advice or something, you can really sense in the energy, like, is it like
Yeah.
needed? Is it the right
Yeah.
thing? You can really sense it,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strong. You want to help, and that's a strong energy like that. Yeah, and then you say no, thank you, and it's like, oh my God. Yeah, that's something when people are like that, and that yeah, it feels like you don't want me to help. No, it's not like that. It's not like that, but it's so strong. That's such a strong thing that I know everybody knows in a way when
Yeah.
somebody is ill or not good or doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You want to help, and then feeling that it's also about that there's pain and you don't. There's something going trying to heal because of you in the end. Oh, yeah, of course that can be, and then suddenly like, oh, because it doesn't feel free for that for somebody.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's also interesting because even when there is no me, we see things differently. So
Mm.
I cannot, I can't see what is on the other side. You know, like not easy to see that.
Yeah, and the need to help or to change someone. It's more
Yes,
something
exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. And many times the body heals better when you just leave it on its own. I mean, you just give them
Yeah,
this.
but not always. It can be, but not always. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Not always, but many times, because I went through really crazy stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just see like not everything. You have to be very careful because some situations are really like, if it is chronic disease and stuff. But many times like things happen in the body. There's so much the body can do. It's amazing.
Can be sometimes. Yeah, that can be. But yeah, there are also times it can't. Yeah,
Of course.
it's so there's so many different things. Yeah,
It's a wonder.
it's a miracle how everything is going. If there are diseases or not, or it's amazing how what's going on. All that energy. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sadness and joy and God, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, like, I don't know, a few years ago, I really had this severe situation in the body. There was something going on with the kidneys and whatever.
Yeah.
And that's John. And
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I just didn't want to see any doctors. I didn't want to know what the name is, what the sickness is. I didn't want anything. It was just some kind of experiment. Like, if I don't know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I really took the time and I really tried to do whatever I think, you know, like, and it was pretty extreme, but at the end it went okay. So it was for me like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
There was only one moment like when I really got very panicked because the pain was so extreme, really extreme.
Yeah.
And then I sort of find the techniques to calm the fear down, so I'm not afraid of the pain, and everything changed. So it was really sometimes only the fear from the pain itself, like be afraid of the pain, already create more pain. So it was very interesting to see, like,
I don't
when the
know if
body.
that's like that. If fear
In my
can't
case,
create, but okay.
no, but
I don't see that.
in my case, it was really like, because my ex-husband was very, very angry with me that I didn't want to go to the doctor. And then I told him, like, if it's going to be really very strong, we're going to go for the first help, you know, like, so. And then something really terrible happened, and he was not in the house to take me to the first help. So I couldn't go out of the house. But I start to get really very worried. You know, I'm going to die. I'm going to have this, something really bad going to happen. And there was some techniques that I could just calm the mind down, you know, just calm the fear down. You know, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna. and then the pain disappeared. So I could see just like if I'm
yeah.
really afraid of the pain, like if I'm really busy with the pain and why it's happening and I'm gonna die or maybe it's cancer, that the pain gets really the body gets contracted in a way. And then I get like if I create that, there was just more pain. And it was very interesting to see like that.
But
Like
suddenly it changed, yeah.
yeah, not being busy with the pain, not being trying
Mm.
to understand it. It's really changed the pain. So
Yeah.
anyway, just interesting.
Mm.
It of course it's trying to be in control, like like wow, this is terrible and I'm gonna die, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so different what can happen when there's pain, and then suddenly this can happen. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've learned a lot from physical pain, really a lot. So anyway, just sharing that.
It's always new, so there's no one to do it. It's suddenly going like that, and then wow, yeah, can be.
Yeah, it's always surprising what you're gonna do, how you're gonna handle it. It's always different, always.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's a question. Can you say more about there's never a control? It looks like from the survival system there's control. Yeah, of course, because when they're seeing everything as solid and real and trying to deal with that, and there's believing that I have a free will and choice, and when there's that, then it feels like I'm in control. It's so convincing. It's this is more like not understanding that. It's more like the loss of that whole idea of belief that thoughts are, how you say, they have power. And there is, every time you can decide, there's a decision, and it's going because I did decide that. That then when there's that going on, that's what's happening, and on top of that, that's me, that I did decide that. And the other side is, of course, then when that's not going like that, then there's a feeling, because we're so used to that there's something wrong with me and I'm not doing enough. Then there's it's not going the way I decided or I wanted, and then it's because of me. I didn't take responsibility, or somebody else didn't do something, and it's like that story. And we are so used to that, so that's part of that too. So it's in that way, you're always right if you believe that's your free will, and it's because of this is not going, because of that I was deciding it. You can also believe that it's because of you. But that's so embodied, so the normal way for most people. And then suddenly hearing there never was control. That's strange, because that's so out of the story. And then there can be some moments, and that's more how it normally goes, that it's suddenly seen like, oh, it wasn't really a decision, it just did go some, or I did make a decision, and I did decide to go outside, and suddenly I did something else. Huh? How is that possible? And suddenly there can be not that strong belief anymore. So in that way, it's the loss of those beliefs and concepts. Can be in one time, but most of the time it's like less and less, things like that. But it's also because there's a fear, and it seemed like when there's losing control, there can be a fear trying to go again for that important decision. So there's a huge survival system going on like that. So it's like that. It feels like, oh, it's suddenly very important to do it because there's a fear, and you want to get rid of that fear. But fear is fear, and that. But you can't say that. But in that moment, there's nothing going on about fear. It's fear. It's trying to get rid of it and doing the right thing. It's free fall also. It's not only like, oh, there's no control, it's okay. No, it can be. After a while, maybe it's just normal and much more easy. But when there's a lot of being busy with control and trying to do the right thing and all that, and there's losing, it's not that strong anymore. That can be fearful, because that's not knowing, suddenly, like not knowing and where to go, and nothing to hold on, and that can be panicking sometimes, or not. The motivation is lost. This is about loss. So there, people think like, oh, there's no problem anymore, I want this because I don't have any more problems. But when there's a feeling of control and it's not that strong anymore, or the motivation to do everything that seems to drive you and then makes your life pleasant or meaningful, that can fall away a bit, and then suddenly there's something not feeling well. That can happen. And then it's that in those moments that me can take you, because it's like, oh, you have to do something because the motivation is not there, and then that drive can that wants to survive, and that takes you, because it's like, yeah, it's a loss. Me doesn't want loss, wants to reach something, to be clear, to be sure, to be there. This is not even seeing it. Suddenly it's it's very obvious there's no me. It's very that they have something to hold on, like, oh yeah, now I understand. Now there's a realization. I see it. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. There's nothing. Everything is lost. So there's also no understanding of being clear. It's also lost. That's really free fall. So that's then when that's starting to get how do you say it, scrambled, and of now that it's not that strong anymore, that control, or that it's like, oh my god, what's going on? And when it suddenly it's just completely lost, it's suddenly like, oh, it's no big deal. What? Not, yeah, it's not when it's starting to get not that strong anymore. There can be a lot of feelings of, oh my god, or dull. Maybe that dull, that there's no motivation or something like that, or drive that not that strong. It feels like, yeah, and now, yeah, is this it? Yeah, it's also those feelings. Mhm. And there's no process, there's no one, but it's also no life of someone, so there never was. But when there's talking in the story, you can say something about there's it's getting less and less control. But in the end, of course, there was no life of Rose or somebody else already. So there can't be a process. There is no process. Somebody say, in a way, there's a wish of being in a relationship, and in a way, it's like first I have to lose the survival system. There's no one. You can't decide if there's coming nice man or woman in your life. Uh, there's no your life. There's even no relationship. There can be being with someone, and then there's being in the room, and there what is there a relationship? So that can be happening, and then we are so in when there's in the story, there's a lot of ideas about what I should do before there will be a relationship with somebody, because then it will go better. There's no one. So there's no control in that too. There's always that idea that there's something wrong with me. That's so embodied, that idea that there should be something different. I should be more free. I should be more loving, or there are a lot of ideas about how you should be more silent, more, I don't know, anything. And then, or no me maybe, it's there's nothing wrong with, there's a belief that there's me. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that. So what? There's walking outside. What is there going on? There's not all the time the belief I am someone. No, there can be for a moment. There's some, me is not always there. There's moments that there's me going on and thinking about things and trying to and then there's walking and not drinking coffee and just being there and talking and all that. But it's already, it's the same. There's nothing different. And there can be an idea on top of that. Yeah, then there's an idea of it's up to me and I want to be in control. Yeah, so what? Then that's what's going on. There's nothing wrong with that too. Oh no, it's just, it's everything. So that's such a strong new idea also in this kind of meetings. Then it's about losing the me. It's not, this message, this meeting is not about losing the me. It's already complete. It's already exactly how it is. It's perfect. That, how that face is looking, how those actions are taken, how the hand is, how the table, everything, that room, the wall, it's walling, it's perfect. It's that, how it is with all those spots on it. It's that full on. There's nothing right or wrong. It's neutral. Life is everything. It's a watch. It's drinking coffee and suddenly it's not, it's a taste like that. Then that's what's happening. It's not a certain way. This is not about a certain way of living. It's everything. That's the joy. Life is that joy and a celebration of everything. So it doesn't matter if there's ideas, then those thoughts can happen. They're thoughts. It's a belief, and there can be an idea of the story and all that. Yeah, then there's that idea of the story and busy with that. Yeah, so what? That, it can't be wrong. It's life. It's life too, of course. It's everything. That's the joy. That's the unconditional love. That unconditional love doesn't say, oh, this is right and this is wrong. No, it's everything. So there, and that doesn't mean you say not saying no anymore. No, no can happen. Anger can happen. Anything. It's everything. That's the joy. That it's everything. Oh my God. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Roes.
Oh,
It's so beautiful. Thank you.
oh, thank you.